Like, can I zoom my camera in?
I
I don't know
don't
if it'll.
think
I don't think it'll let me. It's
no.
fine. It is what it is.
Welcome to live. Welcome to Chatted Up Sports. We are post Alabama, Georgia, with our resident Georgia fan, Joseph Guthrie, and the
Oh,
man
baby.
over there with the beautiful hand motions, Greg Larnard. We're down a few soldiers tonight, but we really, let's be honest, Joseph, this is kind of your show. It went from a snooze fest to a kind of a classic in the second half. Buddy, I'll let you just start. How you feeling? Is everything
Uh,
okay? Is life okay?
I okay. You know what? I am okay. I am okay. Does it suck losing to, I guess, to Big Brother again? Yeah,
Yeah.
it sucks. It sucks. But you know what doesn't suck? Not getting blown out. Not getting blown out by
Silver
four
linings.
touchdowns and seeing seeing fight, man. Like this team had every reason to pack it in and just be like, you know what? Wasn't our night. This isn't it. Let's just roll. And they didn't, man. They fought. They fought their asses off. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. About probably about midway through so when Carson threw the interception on the seam route, I was ready
Mhm.
to come on here and be like, man, like Carson's just he doesn't have that grit. He doesn't have that chip on his shoulder. He doesn't have that Stetson, like, I'm going to go out here and make a play. People are doubting on me to make a play. And I was kind of ready to rip into him a little bit. And now, nope, I'm not even, man. To have everything go against you the way it did early on in this game and to come out and to be like, you know what? We're gonna score as many points as we can, and if it happens, it happens. I applaud him, man. Only thing I ask is you start a little bit faster. So, because coming down the pipe,
Yeah.
Texas, I mean, Texas is gonna be just as hard. You know, it's same environment. You're in Austin. It's gonna be tough. So, start a little bit faster. But other than that, man, I can't really complain. As a fan, I really can't. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to win, but the boys fought, dude. And I think at the end of the day, that's really just what you want to see is your team not give up. Um, so 1-8 versus Bama, man, but we always got that one where we took a natty from them. So,
There is that.
there is that. There's always that to fall back on. So,
Yeah.
and who knows, man? We could see them again.
Yeah.
It's the 12-team playoff. I know a lot of people, when the 12-team playoff came out, they were like, these games aren't going to mean as much. And I'm like, well, from a pure who's in standpoint, yeah, you're right. But you can't watch what just happened and tell me that game didn't mean the same thing it meant last year in the SEC title. I mean, the energy, the pure grit between the teams, like they know what that game is. The coaching staffs know what that game is. Every fan of every other fan base in the country knows what that game is. And I think it proves that, even though you can afford a loss,
Mhm.
people still don't want to lose. Teams still don't want to lose. So I I think Georgia will be fine. Um, ultimately, I'm very interested because watching Ole Miss today and the way that Kentucky was able to kind of bottle them up, which I know we'll get into that later. Um, it gave me a little more hope. I was like, oh, Ole Miss is kind of human, but this is the first real time we've seen Ole Miss play somebody with a pulse.
Yeah.
Um, so I think Georgia will be fine ultimately. They're still going to be they're still Georgia, man. They're still a tough out. You still got to play four quarters. Like if you're going to beat this team, you got to play 60 minutes. And if you don't, they'll come back from almost 30 points down. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, ultimately it's a gut punch to lose, but man, I haven't shown as much emotion. Like when Dylan Bell scored that touchdown, um, I almost kind of X'd myself out from the live show because I mean, I just the amount of screams that just
That
raw
voice was
emotion.
gone, wasn't it,
Oh,
brother?
dude. Yeah. And because I was so I was playing some games with my boys and we were all watching it, because we started playing, it was like 30-7. So we are like, guys, this game's just, it's over,
It was on
It's
in the corner.
Yeah, yeah. It was literally on in the corner, like in my main monitor here, and then the corner, it was on. And, we were loading up the next game and Dylan Bell scored that touchdown. I was like, guys, I can't play. I was like, no, I got to pay attention. I got to lock in. The boys
Lock
need
in.
me. I got to lock in. So, but man, I got up and I just I don't know. I was emotional and like, there's no way that just happened. There's no way that just happened. Um, I mean, that's easily game of the year to this point. So we'll see what the rest of this. Oh, dude, you can't tell me it's not.
I think it would. I think it's the finish of the year. I don't know if it was the game of the year. Like in its totality, that as you mentioned, that was kind of a
It was,
boring game into the very end. Like it was a great
yeah,
finish. It was the
yep, yep.
best finish of the year.
It was rough, but man, that's why they're 60 minutes.
That's
Like
right.
that's why they are 60 minutes. So I man, I don't know. I'm as a fan, dude, I'm proud. Like it sucks to lose, it really does, but it would suck even more to go in there and just get blown out and just lay down. So good things coming down the pipe for the dogs. I'm excited to see where the rest of the season plays out. So
Yeah, because it was looking pretty rough. Like
oh yeah.
the tweets will come back, especially when it comes to Carson Beck. It
Yeah.
got real dicey in that first half where
Mhm.
this is our guy. And especially after the day Shador had
Mhm.
and a lot of other quarterbacks, it's like, is this really our number one hero that's like potentially a number one overall pick because of the quarterback love? It's like, oh my gosh, dude, Beck. And then,
Mhm.
like you mentioned, like the big 87-yard play to Bell. And then you had a couple other great throws. But dude, that first half was a struggle to watch. I mean, I was even thinking
Yeah.
it, me and Han were sitting there talking. I was like, she's like, this guy was the one that you're telling me about. It's really good. And I was like, I
Wow.
know. I
And
promise. I promise he's good.
and dude, it felt like the few throws that he was hitting, nobody was helping him out. Like
Yeah.
it would hit the hands or it would get swat. Like the amount of throws that I watched that would just hit like right in the palms and just dropped. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people have criticized Georgia for. Not even just this year, just in the Kirby Smart era in general, especially before Brock Bowers came on, is they were like, well, who's the elite guy on the outside? Like, who's going to make a play when Carson needs him to make a play? Because last year it was Brock and it was Ladd. And this year it's like Delp's good and Lawson Lucky's, they're good. It's like we said on the show a few shows back. There's a lot of good, not great.
Yeah.
So you don't have, and I was wondering when, because I always thought, like coming into the season, I thought, oh, Greg,
Do we lose
he'll
G?
he'll be back. I think so. He'll join back. Um, Coming into the season, I thought Colby Young would be like that guy, big body receiver. He,
Mm-hmm.
he kind of felt like, I don't want to say he was as good as George Pickens, because watching George in the NFL, I'm like, man, we really underutilized that guy. But he felt like he would play that role, back shoulder fades, big guy. And they tried to pick on him tonight a little bit, playing on Xavier Brown, and I mean, ultimately it ended up biting him. Xavier caught on. He's like, "Oh, I get what you're doing. Okay, I see it," and that's how the game finished. But I I I, I think I don't know if we got some questions answered as far as who Carson's go-to guy is.
New.
Um, yeah, but I think he built some chemistry with the rooms, with the tight end room and the receiver room tonight. That'll be good for him going forward. So
Yeah, much needed. And
yeah,
ETN didn't even have his great game. Like that's the thing
no,
is Carson wound up with like 439, I think was what I saw
mhm.
earlier. And it's like, dude, come on now. I will say this, man, and I know we texted the group, but dude, Jalen Milroe, what'd you guys think first half?
I mean, he
Is he the
was
Heisman winner?
electric. Like,
Go ahead, G.
I don't know if he's a Heisman, but that was certainly a
Mhm.
Heisman half. and then like a
Hmm.
Heisman moment that he needed to have in the second half there with that big pass to Ryan Williams. I mean, he was incredible. And Miggy and I talked about it on the show on Thursday. We talked about it with Gino on Hits 96. And, that dude is just a difference maker. And it seemed like, though, in the second half, Joseph, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like Kirby in the defense was able to sort of stymie him from running all around. And it
Hmm.
seemed like in the first half, they just were in the wrong position. And even the broadcasters made a comment about it in the second half of like, they just seemed like they're in better position to make plays and make tackles. Like in the first half, Georgia was so uncharacteristic. Like they weren't tackling, they weren't
Yep.
crisp, they weren't sharp. And it's like, Kirby, you had 2 weeks to prepare this team. How are you looking this atrocious in the
Hmm.
first half against, as you called it, your big brother?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. And I mean, I don't think there's any reason for you not to say that. I mean, at this point, this kind of proves I don't think it was a Saban problem. I think it's a Bama problem. I mean, just watching the way and watching kind of some of the body language in the first half, obviously. I mean, it just kind of I don't know. It's a psychological edge. And in the first half, it looked like the defense just like they couldn't set the edge. They were getting out leveraged. So eh, what are you doing, guys? Like you got 2 weeks, you should look more prepared. And they figured it out. They definitely figured it out, just figured it out a little too late, and too big of a hole to dig out of. So I mean it's a little uncharacteristic definitely for a Kirby Smart coach team. But again, I don't want to say all that and take away from Jalen Milroe because the dude's incredible. And to watch his growth as a quarterback has been honestly something incredible to watch because he has become not just like an athlete, but like his decision making's improved. I know when he gets a lot of I don't want to say hate, but he gets a lot of like, well, he's good on the deep ball, but the intermediate passing game's not there. That tonight, that did not seem to be the case. He made the right decisions. He found the open guy. He moved around. He ran when he needed to. He threw it when he didn't need. Like he made plays that just good quarterbacks make. He didn't just, oh, I'm Milrow and I'm an athlete and I'm going to out. I mean, he did do that. He did out
Yep.
athlete
He did
because
that a
Got
lot in the
his
first
heart.
half.
he's just that guy, man. But like watching his growth with Kalen DeBoer has been such a intriguing aspect of Milrow's game, and he's only going to get better. Like the longer that Kalen DeBoer has him, and the more comfortable he gets with these receivers, and the more comfortable he gets in the system, Bama's going to be a force this year, man. They are they're going to be good. So, which I mean, we knew they're going to be good, but I don't think a lot of people realized how good they were going to be.
That was going to be my question, is like, how good do we actually think they were going to be? Because it was the first year without Nick Saban. And Chase, I guess I'll pose this to you because you haven't really done much talking. I want to let you get your takes off here, so I'm gonna let you answer this one and give Joseph's his vocal
Scuff
cords
a
a little
little bit.
breath
Yeah,
a
let
rest.
that throat rest, bro.
It's hurting,
Yes.
dude.
So like, yeah, we were talking about how Alabama's going to be really good, but like, I don't know. I felt like a lot of us and sort of the narrative when it came to Alabama was, well, this is the first year without Nick Saban. How good can they actually be? If there's a time you want to get get Alabama, it's in year one with Kalen DeBoer, maybe before he really has a chance to sink his teeth in and get his feet wet. But I mean, Chase, you put it beautifully in the group chat. And I'll just kind of let you kind of go and just how great of an offensive coach he is proving to be.
Yeah, well, you saw it last year. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Penix and those wide receivers are special. They are special, but I do think DeBoer gives you a lot of space, especially with Milrow. You saw it, the jet sweep early, that the big touchdown run. Like they showed that was the one play that I thought Herbie and them were like, "Hey, watch this guy. This linebacker was kind of stuck in mud, that kind of situation." And it's like, man, because of Milrow's legs, it just breaks every ankle on every frontline defender already before the snap's even taken off. And you're like, dude, I don't even know what to do. And they kill you the speed on the outside. And so a lot of that comes from now because that the threat is the deep ball only. Like I think that's what a lot of coaches think about Milrow as well. And so that's why he gets all these underneath throws. And now, like you mentioned, Joseph, he made those throws tonight. Like if you're watching this game, I even saw a couple of people from on Twitter tonight were like, hey, how are these kids so wide open? It's because everybody's taking 4 steps back with Milroe. They're like, if it's not 15 or 20 yards, he don't make the throw. But he did tonight. And he did those big tight ends, and that's why they just kept moving the chains. And then he just took advantage of every open shot tonight. And I don't even think their line played that awesome. But with his ability to maneuver and those scampers, it was like, dude, this guy, he can individually at times take over games. I don't know that many other people can because he's such a freak of nature, because he's he's a big time home run hitter. It's like tonight we got you might have got his version of the cycle in a lot of ways. Like you got the big 73-yard run, you got the deep ball, you got him throwing that little back shoulder throw that he had early on, and then you get Ryan Williams being special. It's all these things in one perfectly formulated package for Milroe. And as I mentioned in the group text, it's just the spacing. It's just his play calling in the first half, especially. I know Blake in here was talking about Bama play calling and the clock management in the second half was pretty tough. And I think that gave Georgia a lot of chances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the narrative in a lot of people that love college football was, hey, DeBoer might be Jalen's best fit, but we don't know for sure because it's still Jalen Milroe. He can run fast and he can throw the ball deep. But what can he do other than that? And tonight he kind of showed it off, and I'm like, if they would have kept blowing them out, I think he kind of takes over as the front runner of the Heisman. I still think it's pretty close between him and Cam Ward right now. But
I was going to say Cam Ward last night was fun to watch.
Dude, that guy's special, ain't he?
Oh, yeah. He sure is.
That boy's special.
I think, and the only reason I posed the Heisman thing is because Cam kind of looked rough in the first half. A couple interceptions, but of course, he bounced back. Was that what do you guys think? Was that an incomplete pass or was that a touchdown? Incomplete?
I think it's incomplete.
Incomplete. You got to complete the process of the catch, and it was fumbling and moving around. Jamarius upstairs thought it was. He was like, "Man, he went back and watched. He's like, man, I still think that was a touchdown last night, but I really thought it was an incomplete pass."
I agree, and you saw the ACC statement about it, right? Did y'all see the?
I didn't see it. I was at camp all day today.
Okay, so the ACC put out a statement this morning that the reason the play was called incomplete is because when he's going to the ground and he's attempting to complete the process of the catch, the ball's moving around. The Miami player that lands out of bounds touches the ball and instantly kills the play. That's the statement that the ACC released. For me, where I got hung up on the whole thing was them initially calling it a touchdown on the field. I was a little skeptical of that because, you saw him coming down and you saw the ball kind of moving around, changing hands, and then a Miami guy gets up and he has it. So I'm like, for them to call it a touchdown initially, I felt was a little wrong.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, when they overturned it, I'm like, I think that's the right call. I think incomplete is the right call, but I don't know what they saw to make them call it a touchdown initially. To be like, oh yeah, touchdown on the field. Now we review it. So that's where I was a little confused.
I think for me, just when I was watching it, it was what they probably saw was, hey, look, he came down and we thought, hey, he has control going to the ground, and then somebody late punches it out. Oh, okay, now they're running around, they got the ball. But when you go back and look at the replay, like you said, you can clearly see that he doesn't have firm control all the way out throughout the process of the catch. And like you said, once that Miami player that's out of bounds touches the ball, the play should be dead, which, again, I know there wasn't a lot of great looks at it, but if that's the case, I mean, I don't think it should have taken that long to say, hey, this is an incomplete pass. And I was, as a Green Bay Packer fan, having some dreaded flashbacks to the Hail Mary.
You said that. Dude, I heard that from about 15 different people. That's so crazy.
That one was 100% not a touchdown. That was don't get me started. That was some bullshit.
He just feel the rant started.
I can feel it. I can feel it coming, dude.
Golden Tate, man.
That guy.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's finest, right?
Yeah, I believe Notre Dame. Yeah,
Oh, is
Yeah,
that a transition?
think.
that is a transition, boys. That is a
Hey,
transition. That was a
well
sneaky
done.
one today.
Well done.
Thank you.
Three
Transitions.
claps.
Yeah,
There we go.
love that. That was one. To be honest, I just didn't think Marcus Freeman was going to lose twice to Louisville. That's all I had for that. Like I was like, I don't think they're both great. I think Louisville is a pretty good football team. I just think Notre Dame was ready to show up. And they scored more points than I definitely thought that game was going to be scored. So if you're going to like lean for the betting world, it's probably would have been the under for me, but I was like, okay, it wound up being pretty fun. It wound up being a pretty fun day for that game. So I was like, all right, Notre Dame's going to be, if they beat USC, I don't know who else they're going to lose to. I mean, the Navy's going to be a tougher one. That's going to look like a better win than it probably is. There's a couple others that'll be okay-ish wins, but if you beat USC, those SOBs are going to be out in that
They're going to
daggum
sneak
playoff.
in.
They're going to be
They'll
in that
find a
playoff.
way.
They'll be a 9 or something. They'll go play Bama and get smoked.
Housed. Just
Yeah.
I feel like losing. I feel like, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just being biased, but I feel like if you lose at home to a mid-major program, and you're like, you're more than a 25-point favorite, relegated. Like you're gone. No playoff for
Move
you.
down. Just move down.
Instant. Just like no playoff for you. Like, we have these rules. It's like, here's the criteria to get in. Here's the criteria to get left out. Losing at home as a 28-point favorite. That's one of them. Yeah, I mean, you're gone. You're gone.
Yeah, you instantly
Like,
have no credibility. You cannot
yeah,
be a part of the playoff.
yeah. We can't take you serious. Goodbye. I
What
don't know.
if
Is NIU
what?
still ranked?
No, they're
No,
not.
they
They
lost
lost. They
to
lost.
Buffalo, and I think they lost
Yeah,
today to
and
NC
then
State.
Oh,
and
that's right.
they did lose to NC State. And did you see who smoked Buffalo today?
Uh-uh.
Go Huskies.
Oh,
Utah
UConn?
Huskies.
Jim Mora and the
It
boys?
was like 47 to like 3 or 10 or some shit like that.
It was bad.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was bad.
Buffalo was a big pick for a lot of experts out there today.
Oh, for the
College game
for
day
the
and
cover or
yeah, just a big.
okay.
It was a big
Okay.
pick, and people were like, "Oh, they're gonna go in there." Dude, the fade UConn life is out. It's out, buddy. Your Huskies aren't
We're
bad
legit.
at all.
We are gonna bowl this year. We're bowling.
Baby.
Let's go, baby.
You guys are gonna be down in the Bahamas Bowl, or I just hope I don't want UConn. They're gonna be like, I can't wait to get out of Connecticut for the winter, and they're gonna get like New Mexico or El Paso,
Idaho, potatoes.
Those would suck, dude. If you were like, if you're like, I want Connecticut, I want it out of Connecticut for the month of December or January, and you're like, Northern Idaho, here we come. Dang gummit.
Son of a
be so mad.
Yeah, that would be tough. That would be tough. Yeah. But yeah, when it comes to Notre Dame and Louisville, I didn't get a chance to watch that game, but obviously I saw the final score. I saw the very end of the game, and it was pretty impressive that Louisville was able to make sort of an adjustment after that first quarter being down 21-0 and getting themselves all the way back in the game, kind of like, what Georgia did in the game tonight. Mm-hmm. And even making it that close, I thought was pretty impressive. And I know that's a team that, we talked a little bit about at the beginning of the year in our college football preview show, that Louisville could be a team that could surprise. And, they put up a good fight today. So even though I did pick that game wrong, I was still proud, kind of like you are, Joseph, that they didn't end up getting blown out, and they showed some fight, and they made it close at the end there.
Yeah, somebody that didn't show any fight, Oklahoma State. Why is it Mike Gundy, every time he has expectation, just falls right on his face? Like, this is a bad one. This is pretty bad now.
I think it was it last year or 2 years ago they did the same thing versus Kansas State?
Yeah.
They had expectations coming in, and then they lost like 48-3.
Yeah.
I just don't think, I don't know, man. They can't handle the spotlight. Is Oklahoma State just like this, like, it feels kind of wrong to call them like a cockroach, but it's like you shine the flashlight on them and they're like, and they just scatter. They're just gone. It's
yeah, they're like,
you've seen me, I'm out.
They're like Kirk Cousins in prime time.
Yeah, yeah.
Kirk
They
Cousins
just can't.
in prime time.
Lights are too bright, man.
Yeah,
Lights are too
Perry
bright.
had a good comment here. It's a scheme. He's a great motivator, a C- coach.
Yeah. Hey,
Like
Ron, that boy.
if he never had the mullet, how good would he actually be?
He wouldn't be that good. Or if he didn't have that quote of like, "Hey,
I'm a
I'm
man.
40."
I'm 40. Yeah, that was
I mean,
that
he's
the
eternal.
viral clip can carry you a long
Oh yeah.
ways.
Oh yeah.
Is that like the golden rule or like the untold secret of like having longevity at like not a high level D1, but like a higher level, obviously a P4 or D1 school gives you that longevity. You have to be likable. You have to have something that's unique, and you have to go on some sort of tangent rant that will just continue to carry you. That feels like the secret sauce.
I think if you throw all of that in a pot and then you mix occasionally beating your rival and ruining like one of their better seasons, like he did with Oklahoma a few times, yeah, you max contract at like a C plus B minus level program in the Power Four. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that man will ever leave Oklahoma State. I don't think they ever want him to leave Oklahoma State because I think Oklahoma State knows what they are, and they're like, we'll take sometimes these inexplicable losses and just bad seasons for us to go like 9-4, 10-2, right? And then last year playing in the Big 12 title game, like
Yeah.
I
You
can't
feel like you
imagine
have a
they're
chance.
they're I can't imagine they're too happy out there in Stillwater though. Like it's a couple of tough weeks in a row.
it's and especially coming with Ollie Gordon and the way he like hopped onto the scene last year, and you're like, oh, naturally he's gonna, which I think is a fault of fans, because I do the same thing sometimes. Like you see a team have a good year, and you just automatically assume like, oh, they're gonna elevate, you know. Especially they
Why
got a lot of
wouldn't
guys
they?
coming back. Yeah, it makes sense,
Yeah.
but sometimes it just doesn't happen. Like sometimes teams just don't. Something internally or something, happens and they just regress, or they're just the same, and they've kind of gotten figured out a little bit more, and it's like, oh, I thought you guys would be better, and then you're not. So
Yeah, especially in this wide open Big 12, you're like, man, if we can just take 2 losses, but you're taking 2 bad ones now. You lost to the 2 competitors right now.
yeah.
And so you're like, how are we going to bounce back from this one? Because, I mean, there's no shot. Like, you have to win out and have to hope things fall your way for you to have a chance, because you did feel like you were. I think them and Utah were kind of the favorites. Kansas State was your other
Mhm.
third wheel in that situation, from what I've seen. And so now you're like, they're out. I mean, as of right now, like, there's no way you're going to bounce back out of that after losing to Utah and Kansas State. And I was like, both of these teams were in good spots if you're like in a pick'em league,
Mhm.
because like, oh, we're coming off the bad loss versus a good team, and you're like, all right, here we go. And then I thought today would be like a much better game. At least both these teams just dogging each other. It just didn't wind up happening, man. So Kansas State's good. Avery Johnson looked awesome. That was
Mhm.
his bounce back game. So he's like, hey, I got gray hair and I can play football. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
He's
Those
not
guys.
as he's not as old as McCormick out there in Miami though.
No, dude.
That
He
man
is
almost
not.
needs an AARP card.
Dude, 26 just out here. I
9
mean,
years in college football, like
9
that's
years.
insane. Like that puts Van Wilder to shame.
Yeah. He's modern day Van Wilder.
Well,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
is.
Van Wilder, I
Like,
think was only at school for like 7 years.
was he? Let's hang on. Let's see.
I
How
don't know.
awkward
Check that out.
how you guys, I mean, think about like you at 26. I would feel so awkward in college.
I kind of felt awkward at like 22.
Same.
A little bit. Yeah. Van Wilder was in college for 7 years.
Yes, yeah, I knew it. I
Yeah.
knew it.
He is modern day like Van Wilder. Him and
They're gonna have to like
yes,
redo it and like add in COVID and like have a kid be there for like 10 to 12 years to make it
yeah.
wild now.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
30-year-old.
Oklahoma State starting quarterback Alan Bowman is 24,
Yeah,
25.
because him and
Him and Cam
Rising.
Rising are both. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Rising's going to be 25, 26. I can't remember. Yeah, their combined
Something like
age
that,
last week. Yeah, I think it was 25 and 24. I think their
Yeah.
combined age was like 49, and the Monday Night Football game was like 44.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's so
Who was that
crazy.
quarterback? Who was that quarterback who I think played for Oklahoma State, if I'm not mistaken, that went to the Cowboys, got drafted by the Cowboys or played for the Cowboys, the Browns, or something like that? That was older. I can't remember his name right
Brandon
off the top of my
Weeden.
head.
Brandon
Yeah,
Weeden.
Whedon. He was 30,
Yeah.
right? something like that.
Yeah.
He was old.
It was really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good. Whedon was good. Whedon was another one of those like on that team.
In college, he was.
If we had Brandon Whedon, we were going to make it to the Big 12 championship. You're like, oh
That,
yeah.
Was Whedon when Oklahoma State almost made like the BCS championship, but they inexplicably lost to like Iowa State or somebody? Was that 07?
I think it was at Iowa State. Yeah.
They kept him out.
Yeah.
Damn, good.
It's kind of crazy.
07.
07 was a great year.
Mike Gundy coming up short
again. So
again, dude, I wanted better for him. I really did, but not anymore since UCF's out. That breaks my heart. I just want to touch on that real quick. Stuart Sanders is awesome. Travis Hunter is awesome, and the UCF secondary is the worst thing in college football.
Trash.
The Gus bus did not make it out of the station. I mean,
it didn't.
This is the reason. I mean, this is the reason Auburn let him go. Is because it's like, okay, he's going to play Georgia and Bama close, and then you're inexplicably going to lose to Mississippi State. Like, it's just Gus, man.
Yeah.
Should you have beaten Colorado?
Not a good team.
Yeah. But you didn't. I did not see that coming.
Me neither. I like I said, boys, the train was rolling, and there's still a chance. There's still a fighting chance out there. We're not out. We're down.
You might be down, but you're not out.
We're not out, baby. We're gonna bounce back.
Back.
Yeah. I might be going to Orlando soon for this. Me and Gracie, first road trip. It's gonna happen.
Just to catch a game.
Just to catch a game.
Trip it.
Yeah. Well, because I don't know. That was frustrating because I was like, I just believed in it. Believed in it hardcore too. 2-touchdown favorite. Get out of here. Let's get into this one. This is so much fun. Kentucky bullied Ole Miss.
Kentucky's defense is good, man.
I couldn't believe it.
They're just good.
The one thing everybody kept saying, I'm sure you guys heard the same quote, and it was weird, like how everybody said it's like Ole Miss just hadn't faced anybody as physical as Kentucky. That's the only line I heard all week.
But this is what I don't understand about college football. How does South Carolina boat race you? I believe that game was at home, or was it outside
it was
Carolina?
At Kentucky.
Yeah, it was at Kentucky. How do you get boat raced by Shane Beamer in South Carolina, and then you go out there and you take care of Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin and Jackson fucking Dart? I don't make it make sense. I don't get it. I know they had some injuries. They had some injuries in that South Carolina game. I get it, but I don't know.
18 to 22-year-olds, man.
18 to
20. They are, as much as they want you to believe these boys are adults, they are not. Like Brandon Whedon.
Trust me.
Yeah, that man was an adult, okay? And Alan Bowman and McCormick in Miami, they're adults, okay? Like, but the rest of these guys, they're kids, man. I know they're getting paid a lot of money, and they're, they get trained on how to talk to the media, and they're the whole coach speak thing, but they're kids, man. And sometimes you just think you're hot and you're not. And I do think also, to point out, I think South Carolina's D-line is legitimate. Very much so. Like, don't get me wrong, Kentucky's offense is not. They're not good. They are not great. Were they able to take advantage of Ole Miss's defense a little bit, and they were able to play opportunistic ball? But Kentucky's defense is the only reason they're going to be in any game they play this year. I mean, they're veterans. They know how to get up and prepare for a game. They're not going to make a bunch of dumb mistakes on defense, and they're going to give them a chance to win games they play this year. And even if that's Ole Miss, I mean, it makes me feel better about the way they played against Georgia, but I mean, honestly, if I had to take one before this game happened, if I had to take one, I probably would have said, man, I think Ole Miss's offense is better receivers. I'd probably take Jackson Dart. I'd take Georgia's running back room, but like Kentucky's defense is just gritty, man. They're tough, and they're going to make you play just a gross football game. And
gross. And if you're okay with it too, like if you're a team that's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. That's hard to beat when they understand their identity. Like Tennessee's going to go play fast, play downhill, and that's how they're going to do it, no matter what. And Kentucky's like, we're going to win ugly. They got Ole Miss outgained them today. It's just field position and taking advantage of your spots. And if Brock doesn't turn the ball over, they're going to be fine. They're going to be in games, and that was kind of part of the Georgia situation. It's like, man, they played them close. Dang, dude, that's tough. I was like, I don't know, maybe like there's a way Kentucky's okay, but today showed me, I was like, there's no easy outs, man. Because this is not a. I mean, I whatever you think about Will Levis right now, get out of here. But at least he had a star power to him. Like there was some potential there. You're like, all right, we know this guy's gonna be drafted. Brock Vandegrift ain't getting drafted right now, or at least not at a worthy position. He might because he's a quarterback, but they just don't have that right now. And like you mentioned, Joseph, that defense is gonna just beat the hell out of you for 60 minutes, and you're like, well, can't wait to try to score 20 plus. That's the best we can do. And it's not easy to do it.
Yep. Unders all year, Kentucky.
Unders forever.
All year. Like
they just want to muck it up. They just want to muck it up. That's their strategy. And sometimes you got to get by to do that. And you have to, based on your talent, based on your personnel, like Stoops is a good coach. When it comes down to it, he's really turned that Kentucky program around in a big way. Now, they haven't made some of the, the runs and the impact. I remember a couple of years ago when Will Levis was coming off his really good year, and I think it was his last year there. Everybody was talking about how Kentucky was sort of that dark horse team, and it ended up being Tennessee that was really that dark horse team with Hendon Hooker. But yeah, I mean, he's done a fantastic job with that program. And sometimes you got to win ugly. And as long as you get to, 8, 9, 10 wins, I mean, you're good.
You're in a great spot there. That's another thing. Is like, I think, like you mentioned earlier, G, like that Oklahoma State spot, they're not happy, but I don't think they're like too mad because it's the same situation. And in your conference, you're like, we can get to 9 wins. We're doing all right, And I think that's why Gundy's never going to leave. And Stoops is another one. I'm sure I guess he just didn't want the Texas A&M job, or they flipped on it. Whatever, it might have been a Schiano situation just to a smaller extent. But
yeah,
I don't know. The guy's a good coach, man. The guy's a good coach.
Sure is.
Aaron pointed out at this point, Candy Vandy's the only freebie. And it makes me think, watching Vandy play, because Vandy's
not even a freebie.
Like, that's not a freebie, boys.
They play Kentucky next weekend. Or not.
Clark Lee is a good. Clark Lee is a good coach.
He is.
He is,
and he's also like, I think he understands, or at least I hope so, because it seems like he does this year, what you have to do to win at Vandy. You kind of have to do what Kentucky's doing this year. You got to play ugly. You got to play some weird style, like Diego Pavia. You're running this not triple option, but like this spread option offense.
It's
where
so weird.
You're just like,
describe it, dude.
Like,
I don't know.
Yeah. Like, imagine the players going to watch film for Vandy week, and it's like, what the hell is happening? Like, what am I looking like? This looks.
How do we
like
cover this?
football.
Like, not fast guy, but scrappy, kind of quick guy.
A little bit.
Makes a decent throw every once in a while, and then it's enough to get it, but he doesn't really turn it over. It's the weirdest like play design. It's like, here, this kid, as my boy Drew mentioned, he is Johnny Football without the drinking. So
he's like a Dollar General version of Johnny Football.
Yeah.
But hey, like you said, like that's what Vandy needs at this point. They need something that's just fun, exciting, like something that you can try to get some fans in the stands for. Because like I remember when we were at ESPN Chattanooga, like you could not give away Vanderbilt tickets.
No, literally,
unless they were playing like a huge team.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you watch any of their games, man, it's like Coach Saban said on game day with like last weekend. The only away place you have more fans at is Vandy, because you go and the stand's full of insert team Vandy's playing, minus like if they play like a mid-major team or something like that, or like a Stanford or something. But every SEC matchup, it's insert color of opposing SEC team. That's what your stands look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like San Francisco playing at Los Angeles last weekend in the NFL.
Yeah, dude, that was so bad.
So
wasn't
much
it?
red there at SoFi.
Oh,
Oof.
those videos were brutal. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. Yeah, we were talking
Crazy.
about because, and I mean, I know you guys touched on the Oakland stuff too this week. It's just so weird, like in these places that there's so much to do. Like in Nashville's another spot. Like there's so much to do that it's hard to get people to come to a game unless the team's really good. Like Vandy fans, like there's a few that are real solid. Like I remember this group. I'd never seen it before until I moved to Nashville, and it's like, oh wow, there is a true solid Vandy fan base. It's small,
Mhm.
but a little bit mighty. But for the most part, like if Kentucky or if Vanderbilt basketball became good, you'd see some more fans. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's just too much to do in Nashville. Like nobody cares. It's like it's in a good spot downtown, but it's like, just walk by Vandy. Like I got to go to the hospital there. That's all I think about. Like I go to the doctor there. That's it. You don't think about going to the Vandy football stadium. It's pretty small, not very nice. It looks like a glorified high school stadium in a lot of ways. The concrete stands, like all that little stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not great.
Aren't
I
they
know they're
trying
going to
to
make a,
are they trying to build it up a little bit? Has there been some construction going on?
yeah, I think eventually, I mean, everything's just got to get better. And
Mhm.
dude, even down to the college ranks now, like everything, it's crazy the money it's going to come in college sports. Like that's one of the business sides of this. It's just wild from the bottom up, like Texas State, and then all the other schools like Vanderbilt's like we cannot be embarrassed even more so than we have and looked down upon. And I like you said, Clark's a good coach. Like he's gonna eventually get that win over Missouri. He's eventually gonna get that win over whatever top
He got
15
a win
team.
over Florida last year. I
Yeah.
know Florida wasn't fantastic, but like that's at least a nice little stepping stone type of win. Like so you can see some of that momentum that he's building. It might be a slow build, but it's a build nonetheless. And like you said, like eventually they're going to clip Missouri. Eventually they're going to clip Kentucky or South Carolina or whatever it may be, or
Yeah.
Texas A&M. They might catch them, snapping or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hannah and I were talking about like the Miami factor of it. That's kind of where this spurred from is when Miami's really good, it's awesome. But then there's a lot of years where you're like, maybe they can be something. That's just because it's Miami. But really, it's been about 4 years out of about 25. There's been legit, maybe the greatest team ever assembled in Miami in the early 2000s with that Ken Dorsey team and whatnot. But like, other than that, there've been some okay years talent wise, but you haven't been to the prominence. Now you've got it. Now you're building this. And I was like, I've always thought about Vanderbilt, like if they did have some better facilities, how could you not sell downtown Nashville? Like that's the hardest part to me is like, dude, now you have money and you can live in downtown Nashville.
Yeah.
That should be a lot easier to recruit. Like I think Knoxville's a pretty good college town, and I've never been to Athens, but I've heard awesome college town. But
Incredible.
dude, it ain't Nashville, bro. It ain't a destination city.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't Knoxville just win best college sports city?
Yeah, Barstool.
Barstool? Yeah.
They beat it. Did you guys see who they beat?
Yeah,
No,
Champaign,
who was
Illinois.
what?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like a
Oh,
7 seed, a surprise 7 seed.
okay.
um,
Sneaky up there in Champaign.
I
Yeah.
believe I saw who was the number one that was upset. Like Athens, Ohio upset the number 1 seed.
I didn't see it, and if I
I
try to
didn't
go
see the
out of
full
this thing
bracket.
from my phone, I'm gonna lose
Yeah, it
y'all.
was. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you're
no,
good.
no. But it was funny. Like some of the
I can pull
upsets,
it
and I
up.
was like, yeah, it's definitely a
I put
great
it in the
fan
group
push.
chat
Yeah,
right on Instagram.
let's see. I'm gonna pull it up. We'll get IT on this.
Yeah,
But yeah, dude, it was funny. I mean, but Nico popping off on the Instagram live, it's pretty
that's
smart
pretty
by
dope.
them. That's
Yeah,
pretty smart. This is a cool little week for Tennessee, the bye week. Got to watch some scrappiness go down and watch Kentucky do its thing. And
Mhm.
I just really thought Jackson Dart and them were going to cook today. If I was going to pick something, I was like, man, those guys are just going to show up. If they're legit, they were going to show up. My boy Chill was like,
Mhm.
dude, you just take your 15.5 points. And if they're as good as advertised talent wise, and they still may be, again, that's another part to circle back to you, Joseph. Now these teams, for the first time in a long time, are like, well, we still have a chance.
Mhm.
Like, so there's a lot of these
Oh,
one
yeah.
loss teams. So of that, I mean, if you're Ole Miss or Georgia, which one do you kind of feel better about to make it long term?
Uh, I mean, I feel like the easy answer is Georgia, but if I'm gonna be honest, I think uh, Georgia's still got a lot coming down the pipe, man. You still got to go to Texas. You still got Tennessee at home, and you've still got to play Ole Miss at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing about it is like Texas is probably going to have Quinn back at that point. Tennessee's like the next to last game of the season, so they're going to be more comfortable. So they're probably going to be playing some of the best ball they've played because teams that are like serious, teams that are about this, they get better as the year goes on. Now, saying that, I say the same thing about Georgia. Georgia's going to get better as the year goes on, but I think I might have a slight lean towards Ole Miss just because I don't think the schedule is as brutal as what Georgia has coming down the pipe. So obviously, it's not an easy answer, but I think I'd
No.
probably lean Ole Miss just a little bit. If I had to pick a team, like say you preface me with like both these teams make the playoff, who makes a deeper run, I would lean Georgia that way. But just as far as getting in, because I just playing at Texas, playing Tennessee at home, playing Ole Miss at Ole Miss, like that's rough, dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's
What is
rough.
what does Old Miss have? Like I said, I can't look up the schedule right now.
I
But
got you. I'll read it
I
out,
can
TG. I
good.
got. I'll get you. I'll get you. Ole Miss. You want Georgia's too? I got them both pulled up just in case. All right.
just Ole Miss right now because Joseph highlighted like the big ones for Georgia.
Yeah.
All right. Ole Miss next week at South Carolina, at LSU versus Oklahoma at home, at Arkansas, Georgia at home, at Florida, Mississippi State.
That's a pretty tough schedule too. Like I
It's
know it's not like Texas and
Yeah.
Tennessee, but they still got some
It's
good
not
games on
easy.
there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not.
it's
It's
not
not. And no,
easy.
I'm
And
not
that's the
saying it's
SEC
easy by
now.
any means.
Like
Yeah, that
there's no
is.
like easy SEC schedules really anymore.
No, I
Like
think
Georgia used to have an easier SEC schedule.
yeah, having to play the whole East. I mean, you got Vandy. Kentucky was kind of a hit or miss depending on the year. South Carolina, ever since Spurrier's been down, like ever since Spurrier left, has just been kind of like I don't want to say a revolving door, but they've been kind of inconsistent. So you definitely don't have the road that you used to. So,
Mm-mm.
and now these schedules are played in 2-year intervals. So next year you'll play the same schedule. It's just flipped. So you'll get Bama at home, you'll get Texas at home, you'll get Ole Miss at home, then you'll go to Tennessee, and
Ain't
then the Florida
easy.
game's always in Jacksonville. Yeah, it's gonna. This is the SEC now. Like, and look, I know we'll do the full preview and stuff like that, but looking ahead to that South Carolina game, there's no reason with South Carolina's defense the way they've looked. And Aaron actually asked it earlier. The guy you're thinking about is Dylan Stewart, number 6. There's no reason he can't do to Ole Miss what Kentucky did to Ole Miss today. And I don't know the status of Lenore Sellers. I don't know if he's going to be back. I don't know if he's playing, but South Carolina's defense isn't something to screw around with.
No, and Sellers makes the biggest difference, man. Like that team
Mhm.
with Sellers that's a good team, man. Like that's another thing
Yeah.
is like you add in a Kentucky factor. They're hard pass and they're not gonna be a Georgia or if you get a couple of these, you're still gonna make it types, but there are worlds where South Carolina does really well and finishes out strong, and they either ruin the party or they at least get a vote or two to get the 12 or 13 spot, or the 11 spot or something like that. There are crazy worlds where if they clip a couple of these teams, it's still the SEC, and you got 2 losses, and you're like South Carolina, you're like no way, dude, no way, because that Georgia that like if you're Kentucky and you're like our only loss is to Georgia by 1 point and Tennessee, or whatever. It's just
Mm.
like somebody like that every year, and like, wow, okay, let's see. But I don't know. There's just some weird worlds in this SEC right now because I still think there is a possibility a 3-loss team could get in.
Yeah. I think this is the best possibility you've ever had for a 3-loss team.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, with
Yeah.
more teams.
Yeah, because I don't know. It'll be weird because I think USC still battling out there. That was a good one today. Those guys, that second half wonders that guy
Mhm.
Miller Moss pulls out is
Love that.
incredible. Ain't he great? They went back to the old USC of not being able to tackle. That was always fun.
Hey, they won.
They won. Wisconsin, dude. Like I feel like Wisconsin just gets the worst second halves. Like they got Bama that second half that turned them around, and then Miller Moss and USC were like, we're gonna try that Bama thing. Just tear you up in the second half.
Again, this tackling thing is still new for USC, so they're still getting the hang of it.
They're figuring it out. They're figuring it out.
Slowly.
It's gonna take some
Baby
time.
steps.
Yeah.
Baby
Oh,
steps.
dog. Yeah, that was fun. I will say, I just I don't know. Ole Miss is another part. Like it's just I feel like the talent's gonna take over. I just think Kentucky's a weird matchup for people, dude.
Yeah.
The physicality, they got their corners back this afternoon, and I don't know. Just they're gonna make it tough on you. And if you're not prepared to win ugly and you're a little flashy, watch out, dude. They're gonna make it the worst, especially like a noon game. You can't get up. The flashy teams.
Yeah.
I think I don't remember. I think it was Saban that was talking about that, or somebody that I was listening to this morning that was like, that's another thing about the grinded out physical teams versus the flashy teams. The flashy teams want this to be at night. They want to show out a little bit. They don't
On
wake
prime
up.
time.
They don't wake up ready to be physical. Like those boys aren't at the top that are going to be squatting 550 at 5 a.m. You know, like that's just not. It's not really their ordeal. I'm sure there are some freak shows because it's Division I college football. So it's still different lifestyles of lifting weights, but yeah, the Kentuckys are trying to do special things physically very early, where I think Ole Miss was like, really just like wait till nighttime and show out a little bit, you know. Or the 3:30 game, you know, you hit the 3:30 game, you go get a dub, you get a shower, and then you're out with the team. You know, those are the best ones from what I've heard.
Yeah.
The Division I groups. So, what else y'all want to touch on? Anything else you saw today? Yeah.
Penn State, Illinois.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys take the lead because I only caught this game with like the last 2 minutes. You know, I was emotionally invested in potentially the biggest comeback in history, so I didn't get to catch most of the Penn State Illinois game. But
yeah, we don't have the 2 TV set up yet. I tried to go double box, but if I can get her to watch a football game fully, then I'll stay with it.
Just one at a time.
Yeah, just one at a time.
You got to take that.
Oh, I got it real quick on that. She watched Red Zone. My wife watched Red Zone for the first time last Sunday.
Whoa. Big steps.
Dude,
did she love it? Did she get confused?
No.
Was she overwhelmed?
Oh, extremely overwhelmed. When you first introduce your wife to Red Zone, she's like, why is it jumping around? Because she doesn't understand, like she didn't know the concept going in. We didn't preface it. I just flipped over to Red Zone. And for us, the trained mind, you understand what's going on, scenarios. No, dude, your wife is going to freak out. She's like, I'm almost like having like panic. Like, she's like, this is like an anxiety. Like, how do you watch this? You know, this is a wild thing to her. She's like, who's this guy talking in the background? I was like, that guy right there is an American hero.
That handsome son of a bitch.
That handsome son of a bitch. Oh. And he's out there. He has held his urination for 7 hours every Sunday for what? How many years now? Like 15 years? I don't even know.
I think 15. It's 15 years. Scott Hansen's been doing 7 hours of commercial-free football.
Yeah, I was like, Scott
what an
Hansen
angel.
Is American
like,
hero. The voice of America sometimes too. It's like that guy right there, babe. He's a dream to have. I was like, you'd be lucky if he was your husband. You know?
Makes every Sunday better.
Yeah.
There's no way he doesn't pee though. Like, there's no way. Like, they go to games and there's no way he just doesn't run to the bathroom like real quick from time to time.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, there has to be at least 1 or 2 times. But from what it sounds like, he's like, I have the weirdest trained body. He's like, I don't even know. He was on Russillo over the summer, I think. And he's like, come on, Scott. And he's like, dude, listen. I do my thing. I get up, I eat breakfast. He's like, I usually like work out. He's like, I actually try to sweat a little bit. Then I'll hydrate. And he's like, I won't drink or eat like 2 hours before. He says, I relieve myself. And then about an hour before, and he's like, honestly, by the time I get done, he's like, I'm not even like rushing. He said, I don't think I've ever rushed probably since like the first year. And he's like, I go home. He's like, I pack up and do my thing, and I just go to the house and then I pee for the first time. So this guy's just an animal now. He's not like rushing he's like, I don't do it on Sundays. He's like, pack up my stuff and then go up to my apartment and do my thing, and that's it. So
You got to
incredible.
appreciate the dedication. I mean,
very much. Scott Hansen, we appreciate you and all that you do every Sunday for us, especially whenever you're about to quit your own football team. But we'll get to that on Monday. Live from Tailgate Brewery.
I'll touch just quickly because I did get a chance to watch the second half of that Penn State Illinois game after the Mets pissed me off enough where I was not just shit show off. I was just like, all right, well, now I'm going to split my attention between Penn State Illinois and the snooze fest at the time that was Georgia Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I had my attention on Penn State Illinois because it was a better game at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting to see what Sean Clifford, right? Is it Sean Clifford?
No, it's Drew Allar is the quarterback for Penn State. Yeah,
coach. No, Sean Clifford was
James Franklin.
James
Penn State
coach. Sean Clifford is the guy who was there before. He's now on the Packers. That's why his name's in my mind. Yeah. It's technically Sunday right now, so like I'm in NFL mode, fellas. Like I'm ready to Jordan Love is back. I'm excited. Big rivalry game. Anyways, yes. Drew Aller. What I noticed about what James Franklin does with that team, they are so defensive minded against a good team. It's like we're not even going to try to stretch the field. Like they'll take advantage of bad opponents, but when we talked about mucking shit up like earlier in the show, or that's kind of been the theme, like when we were talking about Kentucky and whatnot this year, even though Drew Aller's there, like they still don't strike fear into the hearts of anybody from an offensive standpoint. Like the running back is good. I love the dude who plays tight end. He's like a college version of like a less in shape version of Taysom Hill. They had him back like under center a couple of times in the shotgun. He's running options. He's catching passes. I don't think he threw anything, but I think he scored a rushing touchdown. Like this kid, again, you guys can look at his name. I can't remember what it is. Number 44. He does everything for that team. He'll come in, like I said, take snaps from Drew Aller. So if you've got the freaking tight end, Taysom Hill style, taking snaps from you, like, Drew Aller's not a legitimate college quarterback. And this is why Penn State, as much as I tried to hype them up at the beginning of the year, they're not going to win the conference. It's going to be Ohio State. Penn State will barely be a bug on their windshield in terms of the conference championship. I still think they're going to have a nice season, but if you struggle that much with Illinois,
kind of rough.
Yeah, kind of rough. Like again, you found a way to win. That's all that matters. The defense though is pretty darn legit. I just don't believe that when it comes down to it, when the rubber meets the road, they're going to be able to score with a big program that can put up points like an Alabama or Georgia that we saw today, or hopefully when Josh Heupel unleashes the rest of his playbook against a good opponent, Tennessee or an Ohio State, So they were kind of underwhelming to me, but they did enough to win a football game, and we all picked that one correctly.
Yeah. I actually did think there was a chance, like watching Illinois, they've been a fun team to just hop on, and like Andy Kotelnicki is an OC that's changed a lot of quarterbacks, and Altmaier was one. I was like, dude, especially last week, watching that Friday night game, I was like, oh yeah, man. And like I've told you, I don't love Penn State, and I think we're all kind of on the same train. Like they're going to have a pretty nice season. When you look back at a record and you see some stuff, and you're like, they got a ranked win over Illinois, and Illinois is a good football team. I think Rip Milliman's done a great job with those guys. Like that's a solid win for them. The wideout atmosphere. I guess they technically, did y'all hear that? They can't have two wideouts.
Why?
I don't know. It's like I guess it's just the wideout is a one-time agreement. I don't know if it's a advertising deal with something, but there's a whole like They can only do one, so they wanted wide out atmosphere tonight. That's what he
That's
asked for. It's so dumb.
is that like a Big Ten stipulation, or is that like a?
I wonder. I wonder if it's
I
like
feel like
a
it's got to be.
yeah. There's got to be some sort of stipulation from that because I just heard they couldn't have it, and I never got a reasoning behind it. But I was like, that's so strange. But anyways,
Yeah.
so the atmosphere added to it, and gee, like you mentioned, dude, like the defense is just special because that's a team in Illinois that scored 40 something last week, and looked like they were kind of rolling, and that's a good defense from Illinois. That's one thing
Mhm.
Bielema's going to try to pump you up on. Like they were really stepping up, and I was like, this might be another team that could give Penn State some problems, but they just never really did. I mean, early on in the first half, but Tyler Warren's the tight end you were talking about, 6'6", 257, good old ginger guy. Like the guy's a stud, man. He'll be up there in the draft world. He'll be up there in the draft world. We'll remember Tyler Warren. Like, G saw that guy play H-back or whatever you want to call it. Like he's super
we know.
back. So he's a
It's
stud, but I just they ran the ball, and like you said, they just won ugly. Sucks because I just want them to lose.
quarterback for Illinois, Almeyer, is a good quarterback. Like he just threw his first interception of the season. The offensive line just was not ready to handle what Penn State was dishing out in terms of their defensive line and getting after him and things like that. And you know what? He had to rush a lot in that game. Didn't ever really find a rhythm. And then when he found a rhythm late in that game, when they had an opportunity down just 7, he threw a big interception, and that kind of cost them. So look, good quarterback, good solid team, like you talked about with Brett Bielema and Illinois and the Fighting and the Illini, but Penn State just better. And they found a way
Holy
to win.
crap! I didn't realize. I knew it was a lot. Penn State had 13 tackles for loss.
My Lord.
I guess when you watch it, you're like, "There's a lot going on back there," but then you see the stat, and you're like, "What? What?"
Last year, I feel like Tennessee was like one of the leaders in tackles for loss last year.
Yeah. Oh, that's who it was. Yeah, Abdul Carter. That's a bad man.
Yeah, dude. That's a first round
bad
guy.
man. Yeah. They were talking about him. I think it was on game day this morning. Scrambling around going from here to Dayton. But
Mhm.
they were talking about how he is not Chop. Damn, is he close to Chop Robinson, man. That guy is going to be special. They love him up there. And like you said, he can take over games, and he'll be a first round guy.
Yeah.
He's going to make himself a lot of money. I'm sure he's already made himself a lot of money up there for the Nittanies. So
yeah, dude. So we're all on the Penn State train. So you just stamp 10-2, and like they're gonna do the same thing they do. They beat every other Big Ten team, and they lose to Ohio State. I don't think they play Michigan this year. They drew USC actually,
Yeah.
and I think that's a home game.
It
If I
is.
remember correctly, it is.
It
So
is.
that'll probably be the whiteout.
No, it's at USC. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's at USC. Okay.
Washington was their whiteout game.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So here's the rest of their schedule. Y'all ready for this?
Yeah.
UCLA at home, at USC, at Wisconsin, Ohio State at home, Washington home, at Purdue, at Minnesota versus Maryland.
Yeah, sounds about 10-2.
That's about 10-2, doesn't it?
This might be the year they I don't know, man. Like watching USC versus Wisconsin today, I think Penn State might be able to just play bully ball and win that game, kind of similar to the way Michigan played against USC. But I mean, did y'all see? And I don't really want to talk about them because it was, did y'all see Ohio State? Did y'all get to watch that game?
No.
You don't need you, dude. Just go watch. Just scroll Twitter under Jeremiah Smith. That's all you need to see.
So
That kid's a freak,
in the background. I heard the back-to-back one-headed catches.
Yeah, I saw. It was insane.
Yeah, like watching Ryan Williams tonight and watching Jeremiah Smith. I'm like, oh, okay. So we've got 2 freshmen that could potentially that are going to compete for the Bolitnikoff. Like, he's insane, man. And it's just as somebody who is as a fan of a team that wins a lot but doesn't win because of talent on the outside, I'm like, oh, okay, Ohio State's got another one.
Yeah.
I mean, just they are on a generational run for receivers, dude. And it's very early, so take this with a grain of salt. But he might be better than Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, it's all really going to depend on who's throwing to him because I think this is Will Howard's last year. I think he's got to be gone. So next year it'll
Yeah.
probably be like Aaron Nolan or Julian Sayin. But Jeremiah Smith is just a freak, dude. I mean, I think he could get drafted this year at 18, 19 years old. He's just insane. He's gonna be real fun to watch. So he's
By the
gonna be
way,
real fun to watch.
speaking of that, the one-handed catches. I mean, we didn't even mention it when we were talking about Alabama and Georgia, but that tip drill catch that Ryan Williams had.
Oh my God.
Those are the special moments.
Like it felt like I was watching the game and talking to the guys, and I saw that happen, and I was like, "Man, we just got Auburned again. Like we
Yeah,
just got
you sure
Auburned
did.
again. Like we just got Miracle at Jordan Hare. Same thing. It's that same play. Felt exactly like that. I'm like, okay, here we go. He's insane, dude. I mean, and I know. Did you guys know he's 17?
Whoa.
Oh,
Did
wait.
you,
Holy crap, he's 17.
I'm 1,000% certain right now that Herbie and then we're on the train of like, we're just going to say this as much as we can. I think they
Oh,
had a
dude.
bet, like how many times they could say it. I
You
think
know,
they're in.
Yeah.
And speaking of in,
oh shit! Look at the boy.
the boy is back.
What?
We were just talking about Ryan Williams, Malcolm
Yeah.
Harris. Welcome
Well,
in, brother.
Hey
Hey, you want to
guys.
chime in?
Hey guys. This is what happens when you read the email about 14 hours late.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you don't follow instructions from your CEO and head coach. Chase Green, I'm so sorry about that, sir.
That's all right, bro. It's all right. I still love you.
I love you guys too. Joseph, first of all, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Dude, like, so I don't know if you caught the very first. I'm good, man. Like
Yep.
for the boys to come back and fight like that, I mean, I'm good.
Yep.
You know, Georgia will be all right. They're Georgia. It's Kirby Smart. They'll be okay.
It's Kirby. I think tonight's loss goes a lot. I mean, Carson Beck, he rallied the guys, and I just, I'll keep my thoughts about officiating to myself, but I maybe do think you should have got a crack inside the 10-yard line, and I'll leave it there.
I mean, I don't know, man. We on those a couple of drives that led to us, taking the lead. It felt like we got some calls. But I mean, you know, we'd heard about Ryan Williams all year, and when it come down to somebody making a play, he made a play. So
He is. I said this on Thursday's show. Greg Larnard, what's up, brother?
What up, kid?
As we were at Whiskey Cowgirl, lovely establishment, I said that Ryan Williams is going to introduce himself to the college football world. And he did it, fellas. I mean, to me, I tweeted it out. He absolutely has the potential to be the best wide receiver to ever come through the University of Alabama. I'll say it right now. I'm stamping him. I mean, I know who's come through. My favorite receiver of all time came through University of Alabama. He can be better. He could be better than a Heisman Trophy winner. I believe it.
Not crazy.
I don't think it is either.
Not crazy. And listening to you on Thursday, I'm not gonna lie to you, Miggy. I think you're a little crazy sometimes. I still love you. But now after there's just guys that just have the magic too. Not only is he a freak in nature at his age, only going to get bigger, stronger, faster, all the stuff that Alabama is going to give you that most schools can't give you because you still have the best strength and conditioning coordinator in the country, probably.
Yeah.
He just has those magic moments. And sometimes you just like, what is it about that guy? And sometimes you can't explain it. I think he's another one. Not only is he amazing talent, some things just bounce his way. Like that tip drill ball is going to go in the legacy of Alabama.
Yeah.
And the touchdown, the double spin at the end, breaking off tackles. You're like, dude, this guy is too good. And things just go his way. And with that combination, he is going to be living right, boys.
And he's
He's
only
got a good one.
He's only
He's
17.
only 17.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
In
know
case
that.
you guys didn't know.
In case you didn't know.
I saw Chase.
Oh
Oh, they're
no.
back. I saw somebody tweeted out that they're playing the there he is. Come on back.
I don't know what
I
happened.
saw it's all right. So somebody was playing the how many times do they mention his age drinking game.
Oh,
Um
waste.
so you lost. I mean,
Yeah.
lost. Done. You can't walk.
No, you're not. You're barely breathing right now. You're
You
barely breathing.
guys want to hear like a really odd, weird fact from this game?
Love it.
Always.
Yep.
So you know the head, the white hat, the referee for tonight's game.
Mhm.
His name is Daniel Gotro. He actually used to be, or I don't know if he still is, but while I was reffing high school basketball in Louisiana, he was in Lafayette, Louisiana. He was the assigner for our basketball officiating group.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, like he
That's
was
cool.
like head guy.
Wow.
Signing everybody. I have his number. Like I'll text him from time to time. Really good dude. And so it's just always funny to see him. Just a very
Yeah.
awkward, boxy looking man. You know, you get all these referees that are all buffed up now,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
really squared up looking out there. Kind of has a little bit of a gut. Like doesn't 100% look like he belongs. He just does. I mean, he did a fine job. I know there were some official calls that didn't go one way or the other, but it's just funny just kind of knowing him and being around him for like 3 years there, reffing basketball in Louisiana. And now I just see him on this huge stage in these big SEC games.
Yeah. Dude, that's funny. Like what a
Small
little
world.
world. It is, like, especially like in the world of sports. I know, Gino, we've talked about like just the little things, like people you'll find, like they come up and they'll move around. And especially like if you want to stay in the world of sports and you grind it out, like you'll get somewhere. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. But it's like, dude, it's crazy to see this guy out here. And I bet he's got some stories too, dude.
Oh,
I bet
my
he's
God.
got stories. You're the
We
most
should
hated man in the
podcast
world
at some point.
every week. Yeah, we do. We
I would
use
love
that. Use that phone call.
Yeah, we'll use that number for sure. I think he's come on, he went on the radio show with me in Louisiana once or twice. So I'm sure he would love to jump on at some point.
Love that. Miggy, what did you think about the game today? Get your last take before we have to bounce.
Yeah, caught the tail end of it. I thought again that for Georgia to come back, it shows kind of how quality, Kirby has built that program, and but I can't say enough about DeBoer. I went out on a limb. I chose Alabama, of course, with the fans. So shout out to, as well as Joseph with the reverse jinx that worked out in your favor. Um, I just Kirby can't do it. I mean, this is his big deal, right? Is he's not able. I mean, what, he's 45-3 since 2021. Every single loss has been to the University of Alabama. So I don't think that we will get a part two. I don't. I think that Texas is looming for Georgia. I also think that now Tennessee, watching Georgia back-to-back weeks now, Tennessee can match up well with Georgia. So you got 2 or 3 games that lose. I don't know if you get an SEC championship rematch with Alabama. So love what I saw tonight. I definitely, as a Tennessee fan, I feel great about the rest of the schedule, specifically those 2 games, because I think the things that we do well, we can really exploit. But shout out to Jalen Milroe. I gave up on this guy. Didn't think that he was a quality quarterback, and almost 500 all-purpose yards. I think this was a real top 3 Heisman candidate. I think between him, Travis Hunter, and Cam Ward, it's really a 3-man race right now. So good for Alabama, but I'll have some cigars in a few weeks. In Georgia, we'll see you down there in Athens.
Miggy, you'd be so good in Athens that weekend. Just let them have it.
Listen, real Georgia boys go to Tennessee, and Alvin Kamara has Josh Dobbs. I mean, the list, Dale Carter. I mean, Malcolm Harris. It's some talent has slipped through the Peach State coming up here in Tennessee, and it's only right that we finish what we started. So,
Dude, one day there's gonna be somebody in their living room be like, dude, I can't believe we let Malcolm Harris get out of this state.
Yeah. You know, that's all right because I wouldn't have been here with you fellas and Chattanooga. I mean, this is a great city. Chat It Up is one of the best, if not the best, podcasts on all platforms. Like, follow, and subscribe.
5-star.
5 stars. Yeah, all that.
Hey, why don't we go take a trip? I know Chase will obviously be out of commission and Garrett will be as well, but the three of us should go and take a trip down to Athens. I've never been to Athens.
Nah, we actually going to Atlanta in probably December, brother. So just, we'll have some time. Babies will be kind of more developed, and
I'm just
excited.
Go do the show from out in Athens, and interact with the people out there in Georgia for that big matchup.
Well, to be honest, I'm not really that interactive with folks with that red G, man.
I mean, I'm right here, dog. Like,
you interact with that man, right?
You're different, Joseph.
Built different.
We realized the other day, man, you're different. You keep Chat It Up moving as well as Chase Green.
Boys,
we're very both of you guys. We learned quickly when it took about an hour and a half to set up the two of us that we have newfound appreciation for both of y'all. So
we're here for you, boys. We understand our role. We understand our role now. Even more so.
We did it though. We figured it out, and I think we could do it again much quicker this time.
I think so.
Yeah, it just takes practice, man. You do it a couple of times, and it's like muscle memory.
Yeah, then you're like, there's not that much to it, but once it takes a while when you first try to put it all together. You're like, this is too much. Like, what does this connect to? This looks the exact same. The HDMI out to the one, it's right next to each other. You don't know, but you learn these things.
Sure
so many ports, so many cables,
so many ports, so many ports.
Hey, boys, can I tell you one thing before we sign off?
Yeah.
Hey, make sure in that jersey that you get me for them 8 wins, I need my social media shining on the back, man. _ at Malcolm Harris on all platforms.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I need it.
It's going to happen, isn't it?
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
We'll talk about it on Monday, brother.
I mean,
dog,
it's going to happen.
Yeah. I thought with the worst secondary in the world, my team, my Knights are going to cost me a jersey with your stupid Instagram handle.
At _ Malcolm Harris, not even at Malcolm Harris.
Come on, man, _.
I got to put an underscore on a jersey. I don't even know if they'll let me do that.
I'm sure.
Gotta find out.
They will. They'll be like, "Oh, yeah, we heard about this."
We knew it was coming.
Oh, he sent us a message back in September. Don't worry. Malcolm's already prepped. He just wanted you to pay for it. So.
Listen, we still, Colorado's still, they got a rough road, Kansas State, Arizona. I don't know how good Cincinnati is.
I was a big fan of the Big 12 already. Now I am just on the pure Colorado hate train. You know what? I'll pay for the jersey, but I don't want to give the presentation because I'm gonna see that shit-eating grin on the other side. Malcolm Harris just being so happy that I'm gonna hand him this jersey with a stupid Instagram handle on the back of it.
You should bedazzle it or some shit.
Oh, you know me, man.
Yeah, I'll make
glitter letters and
I'll give you a good presentation for it if it happens.
If it happens, or I'll be on a bra on a bull in Whiskey Cowgirl for the world to see. We're gonna live broadcast it.
Yeah,
live broadcast either one.
Either one.
I think the second one would be better.
Yeah. I think the viewership.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's diverse. Very diverse group of friends that would watch this, but
yeah. I need Shador to stay healthy.
Amen.
That boy's stud.
And Travis.
That boy is a freaking stud, man.
We saw what happened last year when Travis went down.
Oh yeah.
Can't have that. All right, boys. I'm gonna head off. It's 1:07 in the morning, and I wouldn't spend it with any other 4 people. So I love you. Like and subscribe at Chat It Up Sports everywhere. To Joseph Guthrie, to Greg Larner and the big heart that he has, to the man with the brick background, Malcolm Harris, the late arrival, but the perfect arrival. We love Allians. Thanks for everything you do. Support the show. All the good things. Peace out.